You voted for hope over fear, for unity over division, for the majesty of what Texas is and what it can be.
The voting is finished, so what will Texas look like with Greg Abbott as governor? It has been 14 years since you've had a new governor in Texas.
So the next few weeks will be critical for Greg Abbott as he transitions his staff into the governor's office. But as KXAN's Phil Prazen explains how Abbott will try to make his time in office different from Governor Perry's.
For more than a decade, Greg Abbott has worked here in the Attorney General's office, but no more. He's moving on.
Balloons dropped on partygoers as Republicans celebrated their statewide victory. But Wednesday, Abbott met with the press to say the party is over.
It is time to put the election behind us and to begin the process of going to work.
The National Governors Association says one of the first things to do is to appoint a lead person for the transition. Abbott did just that, introducing Daniel Hodge, who served as Abbott's second in command at the AG's office.
We'll be coordinating the transition process.
This is Abbott's plan for the state, his blueprint for Texas, and the first thing Hodge will have to do is to find staff to turn this book into reality.
They already have a website where office seekers can apply, Future Texas. We have a link on KXAN.com. Abbott says his top 3 priorities will be to keep Texas on top for jobs, improve education, and secure the border. He'll start with those departments.
To be able to work productively going forward.
Between now and the first week of January, Team Perry will work with Team Abbott to move the governor-elect into the Colorado Street mansion. Phil Prazen, KXAN News.
Well, still a couple of months before he officially takes office, but Abbott today said he has already had his first official meeting on Ebola. That was with Dr. Kyle Janik, the state's Health and Human Services Commissioner. As governor, Abbott will appoint hundreds of positions in the state, from university system trustees to state officials. It's a major power of the governor. In fact, some of Rick Perry's appointments will remain in office through 2020. One undeniable task is getting several state buildings ready for the governor-elect's wheelchair. Abbott is the first governor in a wheelchair since 1982. His new home, the governor's mansion, reopened in July of 2012 after a large-scale renovation. Those included several wheelchair-accessible additions like larger restrooms and elevators. Still, sources close to Abbott say other modifications will need to be made. At the Texas State Capitol, the buildings are accessible for people with disabilities. There are oval-shaped signs on the Capitol grounds to indicate accessible routes. But advocacy groups like the Coalition of Texans with Disabilities argue the building could use improvements. There's only one accessible entrance, and they argue more can be done to help the hearing impaired. The coalition's executive director says he plans to work with Abbott, but does not expect any different treatment than he would receive from any other governor.
Members from both parties, we have a responsibility to give educational and economic freedom so that Texas stays strong until the rest of America wakes up and becomes more like us.
Starting in January, Dan Patrick will lead the Texas Senate. We got an idea about his top priority. It's education and the economy. But during the campaign, Patrick has made clear he will not be as accommodating to Democrats in the Senate as his predecessor. David Dewhurst gave some Democrats committee chair positions in part because he needed their votes to meet the traditional 2/3 rule to pass laws in the state. In past sessions, Patrick has pushed to do away with that rule. On KXAN.com, we have complete in-depth analysis of the election results from yesterday. Just click on the Politics tab.